Welcome to Portugal, Dr. Ross.
It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, and it makes 1.5 years that I was in New York with you, with a beautiful view over New York, and now you're here with Lisbon at your feet. Isn't it lovely?
I love Lisbon. I had a wonderful time walking around with my family yesterday. We're going to spend a couple of days vacationing.
Yeah.
You know, they've been here before. They always brag about Portugal.
Yeah.
How much they loved it. So now I get to see it myself.
Yeah, and it was a half a year that I was in New York, and I may say that you look a year and a half younger, because I think you do practice what you preach, isn't it?
Well, you look beautiful as well. Thank you. I practice everything we put in the books. In fact, if I don't think it's doable, and with Dr. Roizen, we spend a lot of time focused on this, we try not to recommend it. Yeah. And we're not perfect. We make plenty of mistakes. But the whole game plan is to make it easy enough that the average person not only can do it, but wants to do it. If you don't crave the food, if you don't love the lifestyle, you're not going to do it anyway.
But you're here in Portugal to attend to a conference, but mainly to promote your new book. This book, You Being Beautiful. In Portuguese, You, a Sua Beleza. And
it sounds better in Portuguese.
Yeah, and if you want to read it, I guess you understand what you're reading. But this book, what is in general terms the message of you being beautiful? It's about beauty, but it's all about health, right?
Well, the reality is that beauty is one of the best reflections of inner health. So we speak a lot about inner beauty, about having the right relationships, about understanding why you're here, but also allowing that to now permeate through your body so you feel beautiful and then you look beautiful. And here's the big story. I've always been confused about why there's so much attention paid to actual physical beauty. It never made sense to me. It seemed unfair. People who are deemed beautiful, they get paid more for the same work, they have better relationships, people think they're more competent when they're not. It didn't seem right. So whenever you see that in medicine, it forces you to challenge your belief system. What is different? What's going on here? And the reality is that with beauty, it's a reflection of inner health. And we know that because 500 years ago, before we could sit up here in this beautiful terrace, when I would have to look at you and say, could I make children with you? You know, could I be with you the rest of my life? I'd have to assess your beauty. Your beauty was as good a test, and a quick one, than your blood test or a CT scan. And so beauty ends up becoming a very important predictor, and we use it without being conscious of it. That's why it's so important for us to pay attention to. But the real insight that I gained and Dr. Roizen have gotten from studying this is the reality that at the end of the day, if you don't have inner beauty, the external beauty won't last.
Do you agree with the expression, beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but there are some exceptions. So, for example, the width of our nose, the shape of our eyes, these are very cultural. If you're in China, it's different than in Portugal, right? And it's also different than if you're in Africa. But skin texture, the quality of your skin, that's ubiquitous, and all humans value that. Why? Because skin is our largest organ. And the beauty that we have on the inside seeps through the skin to the outside. And so if you don't have the right food on the inside, or if you're smoking or taking other toxins, it destroys the skin. That will be reflected in your outer beauty. And by the way, it's a good tool for you. It's a way of examining yourself. Because if the outside's not looking good, then it reflects poorly on the inside. But can I say one thing that's important to emphasize? I don't want a 50-year-old looking like a 20-year-old. I want a 50-year-old looking like a beautiful 50-year-old. That's what we want. It's not attractive to see someone who's had a lot of plastic surgery and they don't look like they're supposed to look anymore. Just look good for your age.
And Botox, liftings, peelings, aesthetic surgery, they really don't have much credit in your book. You have a small chapter at the end of the book, by the way. Tell me something about it.
You're very observant. I don't like women or men to run after aesthetic surgery too quickly, because I think we hide the problems that our body is telling us to pay attention to. So whether it's liposuction or taking away the gobbler here or taking in the arms or injecting, these are all cheating a little bit. And I don't mind you using it because it is important to feel beautiful, and if it makes you feel beautiful, then okay. But too often we use it as a crutch. We want to paint the cracks in the wall of the foundation of our health instead of dealing with the problems in the foundation. So after you've adopted the right lifestyle and you look as fit as you look and you've done the right things and gotten rid of the cigarettes and eaten the right foods, then if you want to have some Botox, you know, it's okay. I don't mind it. I'm not against it. And that's relatively safe, so I think it makes sense. But if you're going to have significant cosmetic surgery without dealing with the fundamental problems of health, that is a very unfortunate thing to do.
According to official information published last month here in Portugal, since 2004, more than 9,000 obese died in Portugal waiting for treatment. It has to do with waiting lists in public hospitals. What advice can you give to these people, these patients with this pathology or almost getting to be obese?
Well, the problem with obesity in general is that when you put belly fat on in particular, and I'm not talking about thighs, because, you know, if you have fat thighs, you'll lose some dates, but you're not going to actually lose your life. The belly fat, the fat that's in the middle of your stomach, does three things. The fat there poisons your liver, and when it poisons your liver, you make more of the lousy cholesterol. It puts pressure on your kidneys, and it actually leads to high blood pressure. And it also blocks insulin, so you get diabetes. So three things happen from belly fat: high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol. Those three things together combine to cause rusting of our arteries, which is the major reason that people die all over the world. And so when we remember that, we appreciate why when you become fat, this fat becomes alive. It starts making chemicals that change your life. And so to change the obesity incidence, the first thing we have to do is to get physically active. Historically, especially in the younger people, the main reason we weren't fat was because we had to go hunting for our food. Well, today to go hunting, you slide the milk carton out of the way, right? It's a very different experience. So you don't use calories in order to get the food, so it's easy to put too many calories into your body. There are now surgeries we do, but they're quite invasive. They're gastric bypass operations. There are medications that can be helpful. But the fundamental reality is that obesity reflects a lack of control in your life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ross, for this beautiful interview. And I wish you to go out and discover our city. It's a beautiful city. And I hope to see you in 1 year or less for your new book.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Ross. And give my regards to Dr. Roizen.
I always do.